Hello and welcome to Turkey for round 11 of the 2023 Formula Virtual World Championship. My name's Bradley Dowden and I'm joined today by Harry Westwood.
Salam.
Today the drivers will tackle 43 laps of this 5.3 kilometre circuit, 14 corners including turn 8 made up of that famous 4 apexes. Adrian Simon won here last year and is the most prolific winner. He's won 4 races here in Turkey. Obviously can't repeat that today, who will take the spoils. We do have a potential championship decider. The Constructors is up for grabs today, but it's a long shot for Downton. They need to outscore AMR by 26 points. Make sure they're not outscored by Ocelot by more than 3 and not outscored by Peugeot by more than 37. We'll keep you updated on that as we go through. But let's take a look through the grid then. It's Matteo Zatici on pole position on the hard tyres to see how he gets away from the line. But Giordano lines up alongside his countryman on the front row. Klaas van Snelheid starts from third directly behind his teammate Spin Schneider alongside him on row 2. Felipe Cesar makes it 2 Ocelots in the top 5. He starts from 5th. Voigt Escala, the second of the leading contenders on the hard tyres. Great qualifying from the Estonian Phoenix. He starts 6th. Alexander McLaughlin goes from 7th. He's got Zylander alongside him on the 4th row. Zylander on the soft tyres will be looking to make moves early on. Nathaniel Powers lines up 9th. Brock Kidd also on the soft tyres then, completing top 10 for North Star, fresh from his maiden podium last time out. Will Taylor is just outside the top 10 in 11th, and he's got Timo Kinnaman for company on row 6th. Enrique Ruiz tremendously disappointed with his qualifying, down in 13th. Hector Draper starts alongside the former champion on row 7th. Felix Perez starts from 15th in the lead of the first cars. Alar Kanga has got the better of his teammate for once. He's ahead of James Vasquez, starts 16th. Vasquez though is immediately behind his teammate 17th with Max Meyer once again the best of the Lopez on row 9. Yukimi Takahashi starts 19th. He's also on the softs. Sergio Alvarez is 20th then. Felix Baer, a fairly decent qualifying for the Lamborghini team, starts 21st with Stefan Klein alongside him on row 11. Daniel Zientek 2 rows behind his teammate with Enzo Dominicali for company on the 12th row, and it's the 2 qualifiers at the back, Marcus Thunder leading his teammate Hunter Ryan. So as we go down to the grid then, it's Matteo Zatici on pole position, fellow Italian Puccio Giordano alongside on the front row. The lights go out now then and we're racing in Turkey. It looks like a great start from Schneider in 4th, but he's been boxed in then. So Zatici it is that leads into turn 1, but Giordano sweeps around the outside on the medium tyres, and has Giordano got the run then? Klaas van Snelheid has held on to 3rd. Zatici trying to come back at Puccio Giordano but doesn't manage it. Round the outside also the Italian goes his teammate Klaas van Snelheid, so van Snelheid's into 2nd. Zatici's lost 2 spots from pole. No, make that 3 because Schneider's gone through and now he's collided with Thierry Zylander as well. It's a disastrous start for the Italian who took the championship lead last time out.
He's absolutely bottled it, although he does manage to get back around Zylander, who might have some damage from that contact with the Italian. But yeah, I mean, Italy will be pleased. They've still got 1 driver in front, but yeah, that is a tragic race start there for Zatici. He's got a long afternoon ahead of him now.
Yeah, and he's already some 2 seconds back from Finn Schneider. Then as down the inside goes Brock Kidd now, and there's contact again there between the American and the Italian. I wonder if Zatici has picked up a little bit of damage here then. He's had a couple of contacts already on this opening lap, and he's got cars absolutely all over him as now Kidd looks to the outside. Zatici really struggling to fire these hard tyres up.
Yeah, and I'm a bit surprised because it is quite hot here, but I suppose obviously he's up against everyone that's around him is on softer tyres as they go 3 wide through the final chicane. There's contact there with the Lopez and the that was it looked like it looked like that Mayer there kept the throttle a bit planted.
Yeah, he just swung across the track, didn't he? But Zatici doesn't pit then, so maybe no damage as yet, as we've got cars all over the place further back. But he's definitely not got pace at the moment. 2.5 seconds back already from 3rd place, and he's got a train of about pretty much most of the field up behind him.
Yeah, and it's not a case of being able to just let these guys through and then come back when his tyres kick in. He needs track position because obviously with the pace these guys have early on, if he does start letting them through, he's going to get left for dust. And obviously he's in a championship fight, let's not forget.
He certainly will. Just having a look then, obviously he's on the hard tyres. The next car on the hard tyres, Voigt Escala, So Escala also now starting to slightly slip back from Felipe Cesar. He's about a second back then, but Zatici's still not finding time. 2.6 seconds back. He's got Zylander all over him again as we cut back to the front. And I think this is Klaas van Snelheide with a run on Puccio Giordano for the lead. Thinks better of doing anything there, but further behind, Zylander on the outside of Matteo Zatici. Zatici goes deep, but Zylander uses the traction of the soft tyres to fly through. Further behind, that's Cesar taking a little bite out of the rear end of Brock Kidd, and he goes around the outside of the final corner on the medium tyres.
Yeah, this should set up nicely. Obviously, the outside is the preferred overtaking line into turn 1, sets you up nicely into turn 2, and yeah, Kidd's just had to get out of that one, so backwards. Oh, here we go then. So what happened here? He just gets a shove from behind from Kinnaman. Kinnaman just drives into him.
Is that?
Oh no, he just does it by himself.
What? So what? Was that like a bit of a stuck throttle or something there then for Mayo?
I'd be lying if I said I knew that. I've never seen anything like that. I guess it did look like he couldn't get out of the throttle, but maybe some sort of suspension issue because you saw the way that car bounced around. But then the car's fine now, so I think that one just must have been the fairies.
Yeah, that was very
no
weird
explanation for that at all. I know the track's bumpy in some bits here, but not to that extent. Not that bumpy.
No, absolutely not. Very, very strange there for Max Meyer then. As Klaas van Snelheide once again attacking Giordano for the lead of the race. They almost bang wheels, but Klaas van Snelheide sweeps around the outside and the Dutchman takes the lead then from Puccio Giordano, both on the mediums. Giordano's left the door open. Schneider takes advantage as well, and Giordano loses 2 places in 2 corners.
Yeah, Schneider there, great opportunism. He gets sold the dummy though. Giordano just doesn't have the space around the outside. Great defending there from the Swiss driver. Yeah, all over the place at the sharp end then, as we got now battles in the midfield. That's Perez, I think, fighting off Meyer.
Yep, it seems like it, and that's Hector Draper down in 20th then. Not quite the heady heights of what his teammates managing to do. He started 14th. Draper's lost a ton of ground.
Yeah, and the cars on softs have looked quick, so I don't know where that time's gone for him, really.
Unless he got caught up in something.
Oh,
he must have done, really.
Yeah, to go backwards that much, especially when the North Star has looked competitive the last race or 2. Well, 3 races really now, including this one. Oh,
yeah, very much so. It looks like he's got a run now then. This is on Hunter Ryan then.
That's Cesar.
Oh, it is Cesar. Apologies, yes, this is because we're on board with Brock Kidd.
Bradley briefly stepped into a portal back to 2022. But yeah, Kidd can't make the move there, so clearly that Ocelot has enough pace in it.
Oh, just on Giordano on Schneider then, he's taken 2nd place back. There we go, we see it on camera. Meanwhile, Thierry Zylander has roared up to the back of that pair.
He is perhaps making the soft tyres work the best out of anyone I can see on track at the moment. But we'll wait and see if that pace lasts, because obviously these cars are faster than the Peugeot Westwood at the moment.
Yeah, they are, but Zylander looks like a man on a mission at the moment. Then that gap was 3 seconds not 2 laps ago, and he's trimmed it to absolutely nothing. It's now Giordano leading Schneider, leading Zylander, but they've already fallen just over 2 seconds back from new race leader Klaas van Snelheide.
Yeah, I think that squabbling has been what's hurt them, Bradley. They, you've got to make a choice in a situation like this, and Giordano could have maybe gone with Schneider, but by going side by side, yeah. And Klaas, you know, he knows how to win a race, and he knows exactly what he needs to do today, so he'll definitely have been taking advantage of that. So, interesting to see if they can get back up to him.
Yeah, it certainly will be then, as the 3 of them head there, 2nd, 3rd and 4th at the moment. Matteo Zatici has somewhat stopped the rot. He's 2 seconds back from Zylander, but no one else is finding their way past the pole sitter as yet, as now we see Schneider with a look at Giordano. Wow. Giordano covers the outside line, and it's status quo.
How late Zylander was on the brakes there. He had to get out of it a bit because he was going to pile into the back of Schneider.
Yeah, very good driving from Zylander. It looks as though he's got the pace at the moment in that Peugeot Westwood. Meanwhile, Brock Kidd seems to have got a little bit stuck on his soft tyres.
Yeah, someone who isn't stuck on their soft tyres. Kanga is going past Kinnaman, but oh no, that's Kinnaman. No, that's Kanga defending. Kanga is stuck. I think the softs, you really do need that clear air then, because it looks like once you get that dirty air, I'd be honest, I think a large part of that is probably turn 8, but yeah, they seem to get stuck in dirty air.
I'll tell you what though, if the softs are showing this much pace in the first stint, which we don't usually see, let's be fair, once they once they get onto their second set after their first pit stop, they could be rapid.
That could be frightening for anybody on the harder tyres. We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, obviously, and again, where it is quite hot today, we've seen it before where the hard tyres, they really do go off by the end of the race, so they're going to have a real difficult battle ahead of them just to keep these soft tyred runners behind.
They certainly will, as Zylander again there, much later on the brakes than the two guys he's battling in front, and just about manages to avoid running into the back of Finn Schneider, but it's not quite enough to do anything with it, as further back, Alar Kanga there sweeping around the outside of Max Meyer. And Kanga starting to make a little bit of progress on his soft tyres then, up to 14th, the Estonian.
Yeah, so I wonder if maybe the tyres just gone through a bit of a phase there for some of the guys in dirty air, where they've just, they've not quite been given the grip. I would say grading, but I think that happens when the tyres are cold. Well, I could be wrong, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I've forgotten. But it does look like, at least in the case of Kanga, the pace is coming back to him a bit, but not so much for Kid.
No, Kid's still stuck there behind. I mean, to be fair, Kid on the softs is behind Cesar on the mediums, who's behind Zatici on the hards. And I'd say the cars are probably lined up in order of their pace as well at the moment. So it's probably going to be quite tricky for Kid to make any progress there. In fact, you can see how tricky it is. Voigt Escala is actually in that pack. I mean, in fact, everyone is down to Ruiz in 11th.
Oh, wow, that is, yeah. Taylor's obviously not like that far off, but yeah, that is crazy that's where that pack ends.
As here we go, Finn Schneider looking to the outside of Giordano. Giordano's left him space this time, and surely Schneider's going to get the purchase around the outside, and indeed he does. Is Zylander going to try and follow him through then? Giordano has to leave the space. Zylander sweeps around the outside of the Italian at the final corner, and once again, Giordano loses 2 positions in 2 corners.
Yeah, he's going to be getting not just flashbacks to earlier this race, Bradley, but beautiful dummy there from, that is, and
that's contact! That is Matteo Zatici running into the back of Brock Kidd then. So Zatici, who was 5th a minute ago, suddenly lost 2 positions, and he's now got them swarming all over the back of him.
Yeah, I think maybe having to go offline, he's picked up some dust or marbles or something on his tyres, and suddenly he's in trouble. He's got to clean those off his tyres and keep these like softer tyred, faster runners behind him.
Yeah, it seems like a difficult job at the moment for Pole Sitter, who I'm sure would not have expected to find himself down in 7th, just 7 laps into this race.
And also he's now, that puts him a good 6 seconds off of his teammate, I think, 6-7 seconds, which I know he's only losing a second per lap, but when that's your teammate and he's only got to make up, we'd estimate 20 to 25 seconds on you, and he's going to get faster at the end of the race, that's not good. Absolutely not, as here we see Zylander then with so much more speed around the outside of Zylander around the outside of Finn Schneider then for second place, and the Belgian takes the position, now sets off after the race leader. Yeah, and obviously those 3 seconds of clear air, he's going to be gobbling that because he sets the fastest lap while he makes the overtake. I think you're right, you said it earlier, that is a man on a mission. And that's a considerably quicker time then from Zylander. That's 7/10 up on, I think, the best lap that Klaas van Schnellheid has managed so far. And that was probably 4 or 5 laps ago. That's true, actually. Although you have to consider that Schneider can't be lapping far off that, as we've got a bit of carnage in the midfield. There's contact between Alvarez and I think that's Klein. Yeah, as they battle over avoiding the wooden spoon. That's a hard afternoon for the pair of them. They didn't start down there though. Something's happened, I'm sure. I'm sure they didn't start that far back. Klein was 22nd, Alvarez was 20th. So I guess that could have just been the pace the guys around. But they are also both on the hards, so that will do it. Although having said that, so is Felix Bayer. He started 21st and gained 4 spots up to 17th. That's a great effort so far from the Dutchman. As here, I think this is a move being lined up by Brock Kidd on Felipe Cesar. Oh, Cesar tries to hold it, but that inside line, you just have to get out of it due to the nature of the tightening corner. Great stuff there from the American, who puts himself in the top 5. And now we've got... Now what's going on?
I was going to say, well, Zylander has just banged in another fastest lap. On that lap alone, he's taken about 8/10 out of Klaas van Snelheid, added a second to his gap on Finn Schneider. Zylander is absolutely flying.
He really is. He's putting those tyres to good use. He's putting the car to work, and obviously we'll have to wait and see how he does when the pit stops are all shaking out. But as you say, if this is just the pace differential just in the first stint, I do think that some of the harder tide runners might be a little bit concerned about their late tyre performance.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, as Zatici then, currently in 7th, will be probably a little bit grateful at the moment. The next car behind him now is Oit Escala, so obviously a fellow Downton-powered team, and also someone else on the hard tyres. Escala's been able to hold Xander Mack back so far in P9, so...
Xander Mack back. Nice.
Xander Mack back.
Do you reckon on his Facebook profile, Alexander McLaughlin would have called himself Xander and then in quotes big and then last name Mac? I like to think he would have. There's a couple of overtakes happening here. That's Kinnaman on Perez for 14th, so he's slowly but surely making his way back through. You've got Kanga chops off the nose of his former teammate Taylor there.
Yep. Yeah, that's Alar Kanga up to 12th then in the Ingram. So Kanga making good progress now.
Yeah, and he's got clear air, so he should be able to pump in some good times.
He certainly has. Just looking at the gap up front, then Zylander is now equidistant between Van Snelheid and Schneider, about 2 seconds in front and 2 behind.
Yeah, I do think he has taken the best of the life out of his... Is that a core play? That's Hunter Ryan fighting with... yeah, fair play. Oh, he's on the soft, that's why. The guys around him on hards.
Ah, that's it.
But no,
yeah,
I was just going to say the... No, go ahead.
I'll tell you what, I'll just finish that. That's a great start though from Hunter Ryan. He started last on the grid, up to 20th. I know he's on the soft, but he's making it work so far.
True, and I suppose as well we have mentioned that oh, there we go. They're on the same straight now. Yeah, the soft tyres do tend to struggle a bit in dirty air, and that's kind of all they would have had for the last 11 laps. So, well, I say they, Hunter Ryan specifically. So that is a good effort, to be fair, from the lad.
Absolutely.
Good to see Hunter Ryan putting in a good shift.
I wonder if we're just starting to see the hard tyres sort of come into their own now then, because Zatici seems to have found a bit of pace and is suddenly putting Felipe Cesar under a bit of pressure. Cesar on the mediums, as there we see Hunter Ryan getting past Felix Bayer and up into 19th.
Fair play. Well in the top 20 now. Oh, I know I said well in the top 20.
That's a great opportunistic dive from James Vazquez then, who catches Enzo Dominicali napping at the final corner and steals 21st. But that is not where Vazquez would want to find himself.
No, I think especially when you've got your teammate up in 12th with a decent gap either side, you know, you would be wanting better from your race. Although he is, what, 2 steps harder, I think? No, 1 step.
Yeah, no, Vazquez is on the hard tyres.
Okay, yeah, so that, I mean, that's not as bad, but with the pace we've seen from the softs, even in the midfield traffic, I reckon, yeah, Vazquez would be expected to pick up a little bit. Only other thing I can think of is some of these hard tide runners are just bringing their tyres in a bit more slowly. They're learning from races like France, where they, you know, the hard tyres had a difficult.
Yeah, and I think Zatici is showing that here as he's got the outside line on Felipe Cesar then, and in fact Zatici looks as though he's going to try and make the move here. They're level pegging, as Cesar does have the traction still on the softer compound, but Zatici round the outside of the final corner, and Matteo Zatici makes the place up then and takes back 6th, as Kidd sets the fastest lap now.
Wow, although Cesar's coming back at him, I think. He's just hit him instead.
Yeah, contact into turn 1 is behind him, side by side go. I think that's McLaughlin and Escala, and McLaughlin's got up past Escala and Felipe Cesar then, so the Kiwi into 7th.
This is the problem. When you find yourself stuck in a pack like this, you have to be careful. You can't go for silly moves, you can't make mistakes, because you will just get swarmed. Obviously, we saw it with Zatici earlier. We've seen it with Giordano a couple of times, where he's been mugged because he made a mistake during some wheel-to-wheel battling. And we've seen it here just now. It's a real risk that you're taking when there's cars that close behind you.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's one that didn't pay off for Cesar there then. I think Escolar was the kind of unfortunate party in all of that, the one that got caught out. But he's on the hard tyres, he won't be, I don't think he'll be too disappointed with that. He knows it's going to come back to him. Well, you know, they'll be hoping it comes back to them, given the pace we've seen with the soft tyres. As up front, Zylander's caught the race leader now, but this is Puccio Giordano around the outside of Finn Schneider. He takes back third place, but the pair of them need to get a shift on, because Brock Kidd's right with them.
Oh, and he is sniffing. No, I can't. I'm not going to say that. About to say sniff around the rear end of Schneider.
Zatici's just lost 2 places then. McLaughlin's gone through and Cesar's taken the position back as well.
Zatici's coming back at him though.
Oh!
That's just silly. That's
a disaster then for the championship leader. That's Matteo Zatici, who's had contact with Felipe Cesar, and he's that Alar Kanga as well, I think. And
that's
Zatici then falls all the way to 18.
Yeah, bad to worse. Well, frying pan to fire. Say what you want. That is such a silly mistake for Zatici to make when he knows almost everyone around him has to make stops. This is a man in a championship battle, a close championship fight. You cannot afford to drive that way. That's a silly, clumsy mistake to make.
Interestingly, that's almost an identical mistake to the one that Klaas van Snelheid made in the last race. Around the outside and just not leaving enough room. But speaking of the Dutchman, he's coming under huge pressure now from Thierry Zylander. Klaas van Snelheid covers the outside, but no, because Zylander feints him. Zylander now cuts to the outside, and Thierry Zylander drives around the outside of the Dutchman and takes the lead.
I would be lying if I said there wasn't a big shit-eating grin on my face right now. That was a lovely move from Zylander. He really is. The fact that he's still got the life in those softs to make up the pace differential between these cars, 15 laps into his stint, is extremely good driving.
Yeah, it certainly is. That's brilliant from Zylander. As into the pits there, we saw that's Cesar then. So Cesar definitely picked up damage. Look at that from Zatici. What did he expect, Cesar to disappear?
Yeah, I think he genuinely did. And then that is poor from Kangaroo as well. You know, you can see things like this happening. Your engineer's going to tell you there's going to be yellow flags. Back out of it. Live to fight another day. Hopefully, the tyres go long enough that he can make it to the end now, Cesar. But I mean, he's got a bit of clear air now at least, but he's got a lot of overtakes on track to do now. Yeah,
so he's on the mediums, isn't he? So he's got, what, 28 laps?
Yeah, so that's... In fact, no, because he went into the end of lap 14, so it's 29. No, 20... Yeah, 29. So that's
a tough ask.
I think that might be too far.
Yeah, we'll have to see how long the mediums last. Interestingly, like the Phoenix, that Ingram's front wing must be made of lead then, because Kanga managed to get away without any damage.
Yeah, he absolutely clobbered. I mean, we saw how hard the impact was. Obviously, Cesar getting a bit jostled around in the cockpit. Lucky, really, that it was sort of like such a square-on contact that it didn't force the steering one way, or else that could have been a broken hand.
Yeah, it certainly could have done. Up front, Zylander's put a second between himself and Van Snelheid. Giordano's 5 seconds back from the man in second place now then, so although he's got clear now of Finn Schneider again, he's not really pulling away or eating into that advantage that Van Snelheid's got, and the pair of them still have Brock Kidd for company.
I do think he might be driving on the defensive today, to be honest, Bradley. He's, I think, more concerned about keeping Schneider behind and hopefully taking... Well, he's a net second right now, obviously. We don't know what the softs are going to do, what the mediums are going to do, but yeah, he's hoping... I think he thinks to fight with Schneider today.
Giordano, you mean?
Yeah, wait, who did I say?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just making sure I was... I knew which driver you were on about.
I think Giordano's focus for the day is Finn Schneider. I mean, the two teams are... Well, it's just about a battle. Ocelot have been closing the last few races. They had a setback last time out, but it would make sense really that that's their focus.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you know, they've been reeling AMR in recent races, as you say, bar Italy last week. But they've certainly looked quicker. So even with the gap, I think it's 29 points advantage AMR have. It's far from over. I think there's a real chance still for Ocelot.
just a quick note, there is end plate damage on Kanga, so he didn't escape entirely unscathed, so that could explain why he's had trouble coming back through the back. That and also his tyres are 16 laps old. But yeah, so he's going to be missing a bit of front end.
Interesting. I was going to say, I thought I noticed on the replay that there was no end plate either side for Zatici either.
Ooh, that's a tough draw. I'm pretty sure Turkey's quite a front limited circuit as well, so that is, they're going to either have to change that, wind on some wing, maybe play with the diff, but I don't know if that would do much. But
don't forget he's on the hard tyres, so they wouldn't be planning on a pit stop.
God, you're right, they wouldn't. So they can't wind any on or change the wing. He's just stuck.
Yep, he's going to have to cope with that one then.
There are things you can do, like, you know, as I said before, play with the diff, play with the brake bias and adjust your driving style a bit, but you're not going to be comfortable doing that if you've been practicing a certain way, gotten your markers in all weekend, and then suddenly you've got to try and adapt under race conditions with cars still all around you. Well, not so much now, I suppose, but...
Absolutely. Meanwhile, just a note, Felipe Cesar showing us the benefits of a fresh pair of boots, because Zylander on his softs up front is doing mid-20s, but Cesar is into the 19s as he starts to come back through the field then.
A good 5 to 8 tenths faster than the current race leader on, obviously he is on fresher tyres, but on the harder tyres as well. That is a hell of an effort from Cesar, who already moves himself up past Alvarez and is like hounding Zientek, Klein, Bayer, all these guys at the back on hard tyres.
Yeah, Cesar will be hoping to make swift work of all of them, as up front Zylander's managed to put just over a second and a half between himself and Klaas van Snelheid then. Van Snelheid, I think, doing a good job here to be keeping his foot in the game, but Zylander really is looking pretty imperious at the moment.
Yeah, and I think what's could...
Oh, is he pitting?
I think
yeah, I was going to say, it looked like a bit of a wonky line.
Interesting to see where it comes out. That incident with Zatici would have maybe helped himself and Kid to maybe help open up a gap and certainly limit the amount of cars in front of him. But...
Well, there's a couple of gaps, isn't there? There was a gap between Klaas and Schneider, there's a gap between McLaughlin, and there's a gap further back between Powers and now Timo Kinnaman, which I think might be where Zylander slots into.
Do you know what? You're absolutely spot on. Yeah, he's going to come out behind his teammate, maybe in front actually.
Yeah, he is going to be in front of his teammate, and Zylander then is going to have a couple of seconds of clear air. 3 seconds he is then behind Nathaniel Powers, as behind him Kanga, Takahashi, Ryan and Draper all pit as well. Zylander's 3 seconds of clear air.
On though. Sorry, I was just going to say, interesting that Kid managed to get...
Oh, contact to turn 1, that is one of the first, as Zientek came flying through there. That was really stupid from the pole, but that's that's poor driving from Klein.
Yeah, that's wow. I'd like to see another angle of it, but that was... It also didn't look like the wing should have really popped off the way that it did, if I'm being honest.
I don't know, he caught the back end of... I'm not quite sure who that was, but he caught the back end very, very heavily there.
I'll be honest, I did sort of...
second place then, Giordano takes it back from Finn Schneider, as now Brock Kidd dives in. Do you know what? I'm somewhat surprised that they didn't do that a little bit earlier. With oh, there we go. So it was Thunder turning in.
Yeah, I think Thunder actually judged that technically.
But Klein
just
didn't
right.
turn.
Klein got it a bit wrong on braking. He had to. I think he got a bit of a snatch on. He locked the rears a bit. Had to counter steer into it, and because of that, oh blimey, this is Zylander already on the back of Powers. Yeah, because of that counter steer, I think then that gap that was there for him, he used too much space. So it's a tough one, but I'd probably say racing incident really.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a very fair call. Just noting, Brock Kidd has come out in 14th position then, 6 places behind Thierry Zylander. So I'm not sure pitting later has really worked out. Also just noting the laps. So Zylander would have pitted at the end of lap 18, and Kidd at the end of lap 19. So they're close to a one-stopper, but they're not going to make it.
No, yeah. I think they were maybe trying to... That was a nice little defence from Powers.
Yeah, I was going to say, Zylander trying down the inside, but Powers having absolutely none of it.
Yeah, I suppose Powers has to cover the outside here. If he doesn't, he's going to get swallowed up in the chicane. And he does so, yeah. So
Yeah,
Zylander has to hold station for now. And obviously, every single lap he spends behind the former champion, he's losing time. His kid stuck behind Zatichi. So this is the problem. When you run these more aggressive strategies, you have to just bear with it. Sells him the dummy. Doesn't have space around the outside, though. Yes.
Oh, I thought he might get him on the exit there, but no, nothing doing. But you can see how much quicker Zylander is. He's all over the back of Nathaniel Powers, and surely he's just going to drive around the outside of him somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time, really. It's just one mistake from Powers, but you know these are. Sorry, no, it's not Kinnaman up there. Hector Draper with a bit of clear air puts it at 19.3. You cheeky boy.
Yeah, where's so Draper currently running 20th then?
Yeah, so he's got. I suppose he would have just had a couple of seconds of gap in front of him to work with.
Oh, look how close Zylander's able to stick to Nathaniel Powers through the quadruple apex of turn 8 then.
Yeah.
Thinks about the inside, but Powers covers that one off then. As Zylander thinks better of that again. And hopefully that will give him a bit of a better run than the Belgian.
Yeah, he. Although I think Zylander has got a nice run on. He's had to go to the inside though. That's not going to work.
He's going to make. Yeah, I think it will because he's just got so much more grip.
Wow, Zylander forces his way through there on Powers. Nothing. The Brit put up a valiant defence, and don't forget, we still don't know how the strategy is going to shake out. That could prove crucial for Schneider. So you know, those couple of laps that Zylander's lost could be huge.
Absolutely. Just interestingly, then. Although they're not really battling, Giordano must be driving a somewhat defensive line on Finn Schneider because he's losing quite a bit of time to Klaas van Snelheid. I looked up a second ago, it was only a lap or two ago, and that gap was 7.5, 8 seconds. It's now up to nearly 9.
Jesus, yeah. Well, I suppose speaking of the fella, we got. Never mind. Thanks. Yeah, it would be interesting to see some on boards, but it would make sense as to why he's losing that time. Either that, or maybe because Klaas hasn't had to do so much battling. He's just looked after his tyres a bit better, and is able to extract a bit more of them at this point of the race.
It's entirely possible as Zylander immediately onto the back then of Enrique Ruiz.
Wow.
And that's a 1.5 seconds he's put on Powers already, and that's just in this lap.
Yeah, there is a massive pace differential going on.
I think he's going to do it. I think he's already got the overlap on Ruiz. No, not quite then. Ruiz does feint to the outside, and there's not a lot Zylander can do about it.
No, so he gets tucked up behind him for another lap. And now who have we got here? That is Draper, I think.
No, that's Kid. No, Kid's made progress then. He's done Zatichi and he's got past Max Meyer since we last saw him.
Yeah, so he's moving on up. He's coming up to the top 10 shortly. He's got, I think, obviously Perez right in front of him and then Taylor. To get himself in the points positions, but I totally forgot where my point was going. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, no, it's anyone's guess. There is I know I've said it a few times, there is definitely a scary pace differential with the soft tyres, especially if you get some clean air, you are in the money.
Yeah, it certainly seems it, doesn't it? Zylander is flying here, but really needs to start getting past these cars. He can't be affording to spend as much of this time as he is stuck behind them.
No, or if he is, maybe just not following so closely, waiting for their pit stop, because that should be coming up in the next, I suppose, 5-10 laps. That's half the stint gone. No, he does need to get through them quite rapidly, although he's very close this lap. That's
the thing with the shorter races nowadays. There isn't really much waiting, as up front we see a battle for second place, then Finn Schneider around the outside of Puccio Giordano, the two of them going wheel to wheel once again, giving away more time to Klaas van Snelheid further back. Ruiz is turning defence into attack and actually takes 5th place from Escala.
Yeah.
Zylander with a beautiful little move down the inside of the final corner.
Is that going to hurt him into turn 1? I think just that traction on the side.
Yeah. I think
although he's gone defensive, he's going to lose the place.
There's contact between Escala and Zylander then, but no Zylander. He's got the traction on those softer tyres and still manages to get a better exit despite being pretty much a whole car length behind.
That is absolutely mental. We're seeing so much grip here from these tyres. Now Powers is right on the back of Escala, so Escala, I think, maybe while he would have been keen to defend that position, should have given himself a bit more breathing space and just tucked in behind Zylander there, because he's going to be under a lot of pressure now. But no, some great. I mean, for his race, obviously that's what I mean. But for us, I do think we got a good bit of scrapping there. A lot of contact going on into turn 1 though. The drivers are being really clumsy.
Yeah, they really are, but they're obviously sensing that the cars can take it, and so I know it's it's not quite the comment we get in this series usually, but they do say Robin's racing.
Hell yeah, they do.
I'd say what, Zyland's got a mega run here then. I think he definitely has already got the overlap this time then. As Giordano takes second back from Schneider, but further back, Zylander bangs wheels with Ruiz, but drives clean around the outside of the Brazilian to take 5th place.
Yeah, that was, as you say, very aggressive. But
that's that Powers has got Escala as well then.
Yeah, as I was saying, he put himself under pressure. Powers on the softer tyres was able to make his way through. So, but Escala still putting up a valiant effort in 8th place.
He certainly is. He's still the lead runner on the hard tyres, I think.
Yeah. Zatici has kind of just stalled out where he is.
Yeah.
He's made a few places, but I think they were from pit stops, and I mean Draper would have been from stops, Kanga would have been from stops. Yeah, so he's kind of not finding any more real pace in, in that car.
In fact, Escala and Taylor, the 2 Phoenix cars then, are the 2 highest cars on the hard tyres. Interestingly, after Italy last week, where they really struggled to seemingly make them work, despite the fact the hard tyre looked like a good call, they seem as though they're getting a little bit more pace out of them here today.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When obviously you do go with tyre choice, even if it doesn't pay off, you learn from it all race. So they would have gotten a race distance worth of knowledge on that tyre, how to work it better, where they went wrong, and also you do. That looked like a move for the no, I think Schneider's pulled that off there. So I got all excited. But yeah, this track has a lot more opportunities to build tyre temperature, so they're not going to be sliding around so much on cold tyres, feeling like they're driving on ice.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to be working so far then for Phoenix. In fact, I think Escala might still be within a pit stop of the race leader, only just. But I think he might just about be there, so it's still looking like actually this might not be too bad for the hard tyre runners.
Yeah, I think you're right actually. We'll obviously have to wait and see, and then again, because I mean, well, what's that going to do for us? That would put Escala into net second when we get because obviously we're firmly in one-stop strategy now, territory now. For when the medium tyres pit, unless they pit after the softs make their set.
Oh, Zylander! He dives down the inside of McLaughlin. That could cost him though, because he's not had the best of runs. But actually, do you know what? I think the traction that he's got, I think he's still going to get this done on Zandermack. Oh, no, Zandermack just covers him, or does he? No, he goes back to the inside. Zylander's going to have a clean run around the outside of the Kiwi and takes P4.
Yeah. Zandermack, I wonder if maybe a bit of his inexperience showing there, just got a bit rattled I think by that move through the chicane, turns 9 and 10, and has to cede position as you've got, that's Brock Kidd taking position from Taylor, so puts himself into the points right on the tail end of Kinnaman now.
Yeah, I just noticed as well, as further back we see near contact between Cesar and Vasquez then, the Brazilian coming back through the fields up to 15th. Escala's got himself back ahead of Powers. He's regained his composure and gone, nah, I ain't having that, mate. I don't care that you're a 5-time champion.
What an effort. What an effort from Escala. I've been impressed with the rookie all season, and once again he's showing just how good he is.
Oh, he certainly is. As here we see now.
Touch on, really quick, we did just see Cesar on screen. Now, I said earlier, he needed those tyres to go, what, 28, 29 laps?
29,
29 laps, because, yeah. We're at lap 27.
We're getting there.
The medium tyres, and he might not have to stop again.
Yeah, that's very true. So where is it? I mean, to be fair, he is still 8 seconds back from Zatici, who is far from the lead car on the hards. I mean,
True,
class pits. End of lap 27. No, Klaas van Snelheid dives into the pits then.
So that will be another stop for Cesar, and that, I mean, if his afternoon wasn't already over, then it certainly is now.
I mean, it might be, it might not be. 3.7, yeah, it's not bad from the Downey crew. Neither Giordano or Schneider do pit, interestingly.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. So where does Klaas has got himself?
I think he's got himself a bit of clear air.
He certainly has. He's got Ruiz and McLaughlin. I think at least one of those is pitting next lap, as that is Kidd dispatching Kinnaman for the
I think they both are. They're both on the mediums.
So that's a couple of positions back. In fact, yeah, so that'll put him next second. So he's clearly putting the lap times he needed to just clear Escala, because that would have been his target. Although I wonder if all that battling with Escala, because Escala's behind Powers
I was going to say, yeah, Powers has gone back through.
I think that battling might have actually cost that pair the chance to get class behind them.
It certainly could have done, although let's not forget, Powers at least is on the mediums, so, I mean, as soon as he pits, it's going to, you know, it'd have given the position back anyway. But yeah, that has cost Escala a chance at potentially looking at maybe leading this race for a lap or two. I think it was a long shot, but it's not going to happen now, as they're to the outside of Giordano. Looks Finn Schneider. Zylander has caught right back up to them, so he's already made a pit stop. Zylander dives down the inside of Schneider as Schneider looks for the pit lane.
Desperate to not lose a single tenth in that situation. And yeah, Zylander pushes his way through on the inside and takes the lead of the race again.
Indeed he does. Interestingly, McLaughlin doesn't stop yet. Neither Porsche dives into the pits. They've now got Klaas van Snelheid right with them, and van Snelheid, has he done Ruiz? They're side by side. We're not quite seeing it on track. As we see Giordano and Schneider coming out the pits, they've both lost about 6-7 tenths
to get out of it
to the Downton pit stop. And yeah, Klaas seems to have had to have back out then, as Giordano rejoins in 9th, just behind Matteo Zetici. Schneider has rejoined in 11th. They've got Max Meyer in between them.
Yeah, that's a golden ticket for Giordano. He needs to take that and run with it. As,
he absolutely does. Yeah, Meyer is on the mediums though, so he is due a pit stop. So, interestingly, some of these drivers are eking their medium tyres out to do 29 laps. This might not be all over for Cesar.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a hell of a...
Oh, as Van Snelheid dives down the inside of Enrico Ruiz.
Ruiz keeps his nose in though. They're going to go side by side up the hill, over the crest, around the corner, and all the way down to that final chicane. But I think, no, Klaas does have Klaas has a bit of extra in the tank.
Already got him then, moves himself back up into 3rd. I'm sure that will become 2nd any moment, because surely McLaughlin and Ruiz will dive into the pit lane, and they do. The two Porsches come in then from 2nd and 4th. But I tell you what, that was brilliant from Van Schneider. We've not seen anyone else manage to keep it side by side around that chicane.
No, it's tended to be somebody has had to back out eventually, like, you know. Oh, hang on.
That's Meyer coming in. Yeah.
Meyer, yeah.
So Schneider didn't manage to get him. How much time's that cost him then? He's nearly 4 seconds back from Giordano.
That's disastrous for Schneider. That's so bad. He's going to be regretting that for sure. Yeah, Meyer really playing a crucial part in the podium battle here. Well, I still have no idea who's going to come out where. How did it cost him 4 seconds? Giordano, I know he said he had to take that golden ticket and run with it, but he's really put the hammer down. And he goes around. Giordano's really woken up this afternoon. What a move.
Yeah, I thought, do you know, Giordano went so quickly around the outside of Zetici there, I could have sworn Zetici was breaking down.
Well, you'd have been forgiven for thinking so. I thought, I mean, it looked almost like multi-class racing was going so slow.
I was just going to say, Schneider might have a chance to close back up here then, because it looks as though Giordano's got a bit boxed in behind Zetici, but he proved me wrong before I'd even had a chance to say it.
Yeah, instead Giordano's just fetched himself a nice bit of clear air to work with, as do these guys up front, the top 3, all with a nice big gap in front of them. Crucially, Klaas is catching Zylander on the harder tyres.
Yeah, don't forget though, Klaas is on a much fresher set than Zylander is now though, as there we see how much difference it makes. McLaughlin clean up the inside of Felipe Cesar, so the Brazilian might be able to make it to the end of the race, but what kind of pace is he going to have, because it looks pretty poor at the moment.
Yeah, true. And I mean, obviously, as you say, he's outside the points now, so they might as well try something, you know. They might as well try and get some fresh boots on, see how many positions they can make up, because the only guys behind them are on fresher tyres. They're not going to go forwards, let's be honest. No. Cesar's tyres, that is not everyone else. Everyone else is going to go forwards, that's the problem for Cesar.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, you can see he's already nearly a second back from McLaughlin.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's definitely... I really do think he's got to be missing some front end then as well, because obviously, yes, his tyres are old, but he's also really just not getting any grip to be putting in those kind of lap times.
No, he certainly isn't. Tell you what, I'm going to do something that surprises you, but I'll do it after this because McLaughlin looks as though he is lining up Hector Draper for a move then. And Draper, who finds himself running inside the points, he's still inside the points, admit he's only 10th, but McLaughlin goes through into 9th then. Yes, Draper does have another stop to do, however.
Ah, yes, that is true. So, who have we got on softs? We've got...
Sorry, the gap between Zylander and Van Snelheid's gone back up.
Oh. They're trading lap times, but obviously Zylander needs to pull out more time because, you know, he hasn't...
Oh, that's contact, and that is... That's Powers, that's Nathaniel Powers then. And James Vazquez, who have come together at turn 1. Powers is... Ooh, just avoids hitting the wall, but has he beached himself on the curb?
He has, I think he has.
I think... Oh, he's just finds some purchase then and gets away with it. But Powers rejoins in 24th and...
he
turned out.
The carbon copy of the carbon copy of that incident from before. I can't remember who it was with.
The one with Cleon.
Yeah, where whoever was on the inside just locked the rear slightly, had to like steer into it, and just that took them into the path of the other driver. So it's a bad afternoon for AMR at the moment.
Well, it might be a little bit better here as Finn Schneider lines up Matteo Zatici then. Neither of these guys are going to have to make another pit stop, and Zatici sweeps around and moves back into 7th. But he is some way now behind Puccio Giordano, who's battling in the first stint, as behind them Enrique Ruiz puts the moves on Felipe Cesar.
Yeah, Cesar dropping like a rock at the moment. He's got obviously Kanga just behind him, Kinnaman stalking as well just further up the straight. He's just going to lose more and more places, I dread to think.
It certainly seems that way at the moment, doesn't it?
Still maintaining that gap at the front is Zylander. Don't forget, he knows how to win a race now, admittedly with a very different strategy to what he's running today. But I would have expected those softs to start, although he has just dropped a bunch of time in the middle sector.
Well, it's sort of to-ing and fro-ing, isn't it, really, between Zylander and Cluster? It sort of keeps fluttering between 5.5 and 6.5 seconds, that gap. So they're trading blow for blow.
Because, I mean, these guys do all make the lap time difference.
Oh, Powers has had to pit as we've got a yellow flag in sector 2.
It's gone away now. Who dropped?
Schneider! It's Finn Schneider! Oh, it does go from bad to worse for AMR. That's brakes.
Yeah, all over those sausage curbs. That won't be comfortable.
That's a disaster for Schneider.
Well, and for Powers, this.
There's contact at the final corner. That's Kanga and Cesar. So as if Cesar's day wasn't, as if he wasn't struggling enough at the moment, he then gets a wallop for good measure.
Cesar just, I don't know, it looked like Cesar might have understeered into Kanga there. So maybe just losing his head a little bit. But I'm going to let you talk about it because I know you're going to be excited. Unless you don't want to talk about it, because I think you know what I'm hinting at with certain permutations.
I do, and I've been... Obviously, we mentioned in the build-up that there is the slim possibility that Downton could take the Constructors' Championship today. As it stands, it would not be the case, despite AMR not scoring. Downton are currently not gaining enough points with Zatici down in 7th. But with Zylander still to pit, it could be enough, depending on how quickly the Belgium comes back at Van Snelheid in the final stint. We'll keep across it.
He's not going to have a lot of time to do it. Who have we got battling here? That is Giordano going at it with Escala. He's passing Escala for fourth place. That is a net second at the moment, don't forget. And that is, that's contact. And that is Xander Mack putting the moves on Zatici. Zatici has got to be cursing his tyres for the last half an hour at least now. He's just not been able to get them working. Even, obviously I know he's had contact, but he's had a couple of moments where he's seemed like the tyres come alive and immediately come out of the operating zone again. That's early.
That's very early.
Probably a good idea, to be fair. Unless they might have had some damage from... They might have just decided, you know what, you've dinged up the car a bit, bring it in, fresh set of boots,
Let's see what we can do.
Wind on some wing, yeah. Let's have some fun. Why not? Go for
If nothing else,
lap,
they're going to
maybe.
get a bit of yeah, at least they get some fresh tyres for the final stint.
Yeah.
He's got 8 places to make up to get to the points and a lot of time, but well, we've seen stranger things.
I haven't seen the last season, but I've heard it was good.
I knew that was coming.
You set me up perfectly and I knocked it down.
I'll tell you what, you say Giordano's a net second. Looking at the gaps, I think that's only just. I mean, he's 19 seconds, nearly 20 seconds actually, behind Zylander.
Is that the gap? 6 to... Oh, and he's losing more time as well.
So I think Zylander might come out in a net third place here, as we see now Draper going around the outside of Zatici. Wow, Zatici's
That's Zatici's at risk of falling outside the points here.
He really is. Well, Draper's going to pit again, isn't he?
True.
And Kanga will as well, because he's also on the softs. But he's got Ruiz and
Kanga's on the soft, isn't he?
Kinnaman not too far behind either. So
Kinnaman's got 7 laps to make up, what, 4 seconds? And then pass a Downton.
About 4 seconds has come down pretty quickly because Ruiz is on his tail. And no, hang on, sorry, I was looking at Kanga. Never mind.
And they are on the same straight, so it would be interesting. But I do think Zatici will have very squirrely coming through turn 6. I want to say.
Yeah, Kinnaman's got to do that, but Draper's just driven around the outside of Zatici. If Draper can do it, I'm fairly sure Kinnaman can.
Here we go, Ruiz sending a beauty of a move at the inside here. Is he going to make it stick?
Oh.
There's a bit of contact, he's got to back out.
Zylander pits from the lead.
Here we go then, so he's going to have, what, 7 laps on these tyres. He's going to go absolutely hell for leather. Through goes Class, takes the lead of the race. It's a
3.5 seconds, that's a good stop from the Peugeot Westwood, boys and girls.
Yeah, beat their previous time by something, I can't remember.
Where's he going to come out in relation to Giordano? Giordano's just going to squeak through, I think, or is he? Zylander's going to have better traction, surely on the soft tyres. They're side by side. Giordano just squeezes in front, and that could be the difference, because Thierry Zylander now has to make the overtake.
Yeah, that's exactly what Zylander did not want. Although, I personally think the gap to Class is still a bit far. So, Giordano's going to have to hang on for 7 laps here. That's a big ask of anyone.
15 seconds, isn't it, to be fair, Zylander's back.
We're talking about 2 seconds a lap to not even catch. So, and now obviously the mediums are a bit fresher. So I do think it is just a bit far out of reach. But, here we go. Is he going to go for it? Discretion, the better part of Valor. Giordano has to take an early apex, and wonder if that'll cost him in the run down to the final chicane.
It could well do then. Obviously, Kid will disappear out of the way probably at the end of this lap because he's on the soft tyres, so we'll pit as well. So this is...
Where do we think he'll end up? Because he's still going to be in the points.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be behind both Phoenixes, I'd imagine.
There he goes, straight through. That
Easy
was,
for Thierry Zylander then. Kid does indeed pit as that's Glocklin going around the outside of Will Taylor. Behind them, Ruiz does Matteo Zatici. And I think Kid might come out in the gap between Taylor and Ruiz.
Yes.
Or no, or is he going to be further down?
Oh, he is. He's.
Oh, I don't know. He's at the exit of the pit lane now. Then, as Ruiz comes into turn 1, I think he is going to be just behind. Where's he going to come out in relation to Matteo Zatici? Then he does clear the Italian.
That's good. If he'd have been stuck behind Zatici this lap, he would have had a lot. He would have had a much harder time making progress. Put it that way. So Zatici actually, he's not really at risk of not finishing in the points, but he's at risk of just getting the 1.
He certainly is. Then
on pole position, that's a bitter pill to swallow.
It really is, but I mean, it's hard to disagree. It's not of his own making.
Well,
he's got
true.
Kinnaman
I mean,
1.5 behind him. You'd say that's probably fairly straightforward. He should just hold on to 10th though, because Perez is a further 12 seconds behind.
If he loses 10th, that will be just through driver error or mechanical failure. There's no way he can lose that on pace.
5 laps to go then. Klaas van Snelheid leads this one by 12.5 seconds from Thierry Zylander. The Belgian is flying on those fresh soft tyres. What can Brock Kidd do? He's stalking Enrique Ruiz. It's an 18.9!
Wow. Track rubbered in, low fuel. And obviously Zylander knows he doesn't have to make these tyres go 18 odd laps. He's just got to make them go 7. So he can go, as I said, go hell for leather. Just take the life out of them.
Oh, and he clean around the outside. He brakes later than Ruiz, but was so much later on the brakes. He was ahead before he turned into the corner.
I've only just noticed, sorry, quick side note. When you look down at that angle we were just looking at, down to turn 3, you can see them going up the hill onto that fast right-hander. Just a fun little... Anyway, it was... No, sorry, I knew I was going to forget my point about it. But, about Kidd, very nice overtake, and I do think that a lot of drivers today could maybe look at that and take some lessons on how to pass around the outside of turn 1 Turkey.
Just want to point it out, the gap up front is down to 11 seconds. Zylander is taking 2, if not more than 2 seconds a lap from Klaas van Schnell. He's just lost a little bit there then in what would be the final sector, I'd imagine. Actually, he's losing quite a bit.
He needs 3 seconds a lap, really, to catch and have a chance to pass. As there goes Kidd. He is, wow, through before the braking zone. So much later on the brakes.
Kidd is absolutely flying. Because we've got a yellow flag in...
Kanga.
Kinnaman's done Zatici for P9. But yeah, that's Alar Kanga out the races. Brock Kidd bangs in the fastest lap now, and you can see it in the way the car is behaving underneath him. He is absolutely ragging that.
Yeah. I mean, what's he got now in front of him? McLaughlin and Escala. I think McLaughlin he'll catch. Escala just might be a bit too far.
I don't know. He's only
4 laps older.
1.3 seconds behind McLaughlin, who's only a second behind Escala. I think he's got P4 fairly comfortably here, Brock Kidd.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong gaps. I was looking at Escala to Giordano.
Yeah.
Oops. Noting on that gap at the front, Klaas has stopped that gap going down really dramatically, I would say. He's lost a second, but when you think 3 laps to go,
I think he's just sort of picked the pace up enough to make sure he's still got a comfortable advantage, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do, because this isn't a case of... This is the case of if Zylander catches you and he gets a sniff, there's a good chance he'll pass. But if you just keep that gap big enough... Oh! That is a nice move on the outside for McLaughlin.
Yeah, McLaughlin's McLaughlin on Escala, and Kidd takes the initiative and follows him through into 5th. Beautiful move from the American.
Boy. Yeah, that was lovely stuff. I enjoyed that quite a lot. So, can McLaughlin hold on for a couple of laps? Probably not. But I'm excited to see if he can.
Not a chance. McLaughlin's like...
No.
This would be like taking candy from a baby for Brock Kidd. I mean, McLaughlin's pretty much fighting with both his hands and his feet tied behind his back, isn't he?
Well, that is normally what he does on his weekends off. Not his weekends working. No, yeah, he's in a tough spot. He's on harder, older tyres. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes right now.
I tell you what, Hector Draper is... he's 9 seconds back. I was going to say, Draper's cleared Perez on the fresh, soft tyres. Zatici on very worn, old, hard tyres. Okay, it's 9 seconds. It might be a little bit out of reach, but...
I think it is still amazing that even... Because obviously if we'd have seen the race a bit longer distance...
I think Kidd's got him.
I think it would have been even better. Here we go. Yeah, just like that. Around the outside. Zandermatt just you can't defend that. There's nothing you can do.
No.
All he has to do is make sure Escala doesn't, mug him. Giordano pits!
Oh, Giordano pits! From 3rd place then, with 2 laps to go, Puccio Giordano is in the pits. And is he stuck in gear?
He must be retiring. Yes, he is. He's retiring.
Oh, it's a disaster for Ocelot.
Oh, they were set to gain so much on their rivals in 2nd place. That is huge, but that's huge. That could be a. I don't want to say it yet. That could be a 2nd consecutive podium for Brock Kidd.
Well, he's put himself into 3rd, and he's absolutely flying. Then the American would fully deserve that with the drive that he's put in so far. But that's heartbreak for Giordano and Ocelot.
I can't believe it. This Ocelot's set to score 0 points this afternoon.
As our AMR.
Cesar. Yeah, so 2 out of the top 3 teams in the constructors will not score points today. And I think what's more important than that, I'll let you. Let's wait for the last lap. Let's just see what happens. I don't want to, because if I curse it, something happens. You're going to come all the way to Swansea, and you're going to mess me up. You're going to.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
It's going to hurt.
As Klaas van Snelheid starts the final lap in Turkey, then he's got 8 seconds over Thierry Zylander. I kind of want to see the car to make sure it's not smoking, and I kind of don't want to see it at all.
Please don't be. I mean, hey, they say no news is good news, you know. So think of it that way.
Don't they just? We're obviously just mentioning this because with the race panning out as it has, it means that Downton are on course to secure the Constructors' Championship here today in just the 11th round.
You said
of the
if it goes
season.
wrong now, it's your fault, not mine. You said
7.5 seconds to Zylander.
Wait, that gap's coming down. 6. He's managed the race beautifully as Klaas. I think he kept himself within touching distance of Zylander, knowing that the
He's got lap traffic.
About...
This is Klaas van Snelheid then behind Stefan Klein.
Over there. At the last hurdle, surely not. No, comfortably. But yeah,
thankfully,
well managed. Kept the gaps, and I'll let you take this one away.
1 to go then for Klaas van Snelheid. He rounds the final corner, and Van Snelheid will cross the line to take the win here in Turkey. It's not quite the championship yet then for Downton. They need at least a point from Matteo Zatici, but Zylander takes a fantastic second place. Those soft tyres have worked brilliantly for the Belgium, as they have for the American Brock Kid, who's going to take a second consecutive podium finish, and very, very well deserved from the pair of them. Zander Mack will take 4th ahead of Voigt Escala. Enrique Ruiz couldn't quite get the Estonian, finishes 6th. It's 7th for Timo Kinnaman and 8th for Will Taylor. But Matteo Zatici has held on, takes 9th position, and Downton are the 2023 Constructors' Champions.
Incredible, absolutely. I don't know what to say. I never thought we would see this kind of dominance in a Constructors' Championship, because on pace it doesn't look like you should have it wrapped up by round 11, because you've had various contenders, but just, you know, you've kept the cars on track, kept them finishing races, and what that's going to be, I think that'll be a record that will stand for quite some time.
Yeah, 5 races then still to go this season, but Downton are uncatchable. I just want to note as well, Hector Draper, it's unfortunate for Giordano, but Draper did pick up 10th place, which means he scores a point for the first time in his career then. But it's Klaas van Snelheid who leads the field back to the pit lane then, and he will start the celebrations and the podium for Downton, the Constructors' Champions. Here come the drivers out onto the podium. In 3rd place for North Star Racing, following up his maiden career rostrum last weekend with another one today, Brock Kidd. In 2nd place for Team Peugeot Total Energies Westwood, with his 3rd podium of the season and 1st since France, Thierry Zylander. And on to the top step then for the Downton FV team, bouncing back for the 6th win of the season after retiring last weekend at Monza, Klaas van Snelheid. And in his honour, the Dutch national anthem. So there we have it then. It's victory for Klaas van Snelheid, and he helps Downton to their 5th Constructors' Championship then. Brilliant drives from Zylander and Kidd on the soft tyres to secure the final 2 podium positions ahead of McLaughlin and Voigt Escala, who made those hard tyres work then. Ruiz also a good result, as Zatici and Will Taylor there also picking up the latter point positions, and Hector Draper making it a double points finish for North Star, picking up his first ever career point in Formula Virtual, Giordano, Kanger and Schneider, the unfortunate retirees then towards the bottom. The Drivers' Championship, well, it means we've got a change at the top once again. Klaas-Van Snelheid takes the lead back and has an 18-point advantage over his teammate. Thierry Zylander has gained 2 positions up to 4th and remains now the last driver in championship contention, then 115 points behind with 125 still to play for. Brock Kidd moves up 3 positions in the championship then, but there are 4 drivers tied now on 46 points. Hector Draper, with his first career point, also gained a couple of positions. Jean Madsen remains the only driver not classified. And in the Constructors' Championship then, well, that's wrapped up. Downton are the champions. They've got 216 point advantage over AMR with 2:15 to play. Ocelot nor AMR didn't score any points here today. Peugeot Westwood have therefore closed up slightly in the battle for, well, second and third. North Star gain ground as well. But that's all from our race here today in Turkey. So from both me and Harry, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for round 12 from Montreal, Canada.